Hi, this is Michael Santos, and this is my final digital mapping project, a look at Philadelphia area hospitals. The question I set out to ask initially was how effective are Philadelphia hospitals and how accessible is medical care to different groups of people? I quickly found that the word accessibility is something that needs further definition, which I think that my story maps did a good job of doing. Some quick facts about the American healthcare system and Philadelphia and Pennsylvania at large are 85% of Americans think hospital visits are too expensive, 26% of Philadelphians are below the poverty line, and there are a total of 249 registered hospitals in Pennsylvania. I took a sample of 15 Philadelphia area hospitals and charted the following characteristics about them. So I took their location, I took um, a look at what their funding type was, so whether they were a for-profit hospital, a non-profit hospital, or a public hospital. I also looked at their favorability rating via a five-star system from Medicare.gov. This five-star rating system included 7 measures, which were mortality rate, safety of care, readmission, patient experience, effectiveness of care, timeliness of care, and efficient use of medical imaging. So it gave a pretty well-rounded look into the type of care these people will be receiving when they check into this one of these hospitals. Um, I also looked at the average household income by neighborhood and the race breakdown by neighborhood. I did find some unfortunate similarities, which will be seen in the maps on the next slide, which are right here. There are some striking patterns, which particularly the lowest ranking hospitals seem to cluster in low income minority dominated areas. This being specifically in in the North Philadelphia area, and conversely, while not devoid of low scoring hospitals, almost all high ranking hospitals are found in wealthy white areas. So 5 of the 7 and 2 star rated hospitals are found in low income minority dominated areas, and only one of the 5 4 and 5 star rated hospitals um, is found in a low income area, that being the University of Pennsylvania Hospital. Now, that hospital's neighborhood is also predominantly white, but it is a lower income area. Um, so again, this follows with the theme and trend of lower ranking hospitals being specifically in minority communities and higher ranking hospitals being found in predominantly white communities. I decided to map the Philadelphia metropolitan area and some of the surrounding boroughs, particularly because they have a diverse economic and ethnic background, and I'm extremely familiar with the area. I have friends in the Philadelphia area and Chester County and the neighboring counties as well. Um, I used race and income as some of my census data breakdowns because I felt like it would show um, how uh, or where low and high ranking hospitals reside and how they affect different groups of people. So that's one of the reasons why I had chosen those breakdowns specifically. I chose the specific style of showing the streets as opposed to something like a topographical map because I felt like the location of the hospital is something that was extremely important to the point I was making. So, like I had said, a topographical map wouldn't really show or have much of an impact on the viewer as much as um, a map showing the streets of Philadelphia would specifically, because you have a better idea of the area in which these hospitals are located. Particularly, the things I liked or found interesting was the incorporation of the mark my current location feature in my story map, because you're able to. While I'm not currently in the Philadelphia area, due to the coronavirus, um, I have friends or people who are in the Philadelphia area currently, and being able to see which hospital is closest to you in proximity or anything like that, or what your neighborhood income breakdown or racial breakdown is something that uh, helps speak to the entirety of the map and the point it's trying to display. So, what was learned? Um, Firstly, Philadelphia has a vast and varied hospital and healthcare system. It has a vast number of healthcare providers. Proximity doesn't seem to be an issue with a multitude of people. Philadelphia gives its people access in terms of proximity to a multitude of hospitals. However, there is a varying degree of quality in said hospitals, and the quality seems to, on average, dip when the hospital is located in either a low income area or an area that is predominantly of color, particularly the Black and Latinx communities. This question again of what is accessibility comes up because a lot of the studies that um, are found in my research paper are things such as looking at hospital quality in the UK, in which every person is able to afford healthcare because they have a socialized healthcare system. So the income breakdown isn't really something that would be taken into consideration in these studies. However, in this one, accessibility is almost directly correlated with income because, again, these low income communities are given the lowest quality um, hospitals. Finally, I guess on the topic again of accessibility, is that there are a multitude of factors for a hospital to be accessible, not just proximity, specifically that being affordability and quality of care. Uh, Poor quality hospitals, according to Medicare.gov's rating system, uh, can be associated with a low income, densely populated minority neighborhood, as can be seen in my maps. Lack of quality, affordable healthcare seems to disproportionately affect poor minority communities in Philadelphia, and these findings seem to be consistent with the consensus of the medical community, which I display further in my research paper.